United stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge on what many people believe is the big day for Manchester United. Certainly somebody has gone, but that's Mason Greenwood. It isn't actually Erik ten Hag. We've got the latest on that. We've got the latest on Bruno Fernandez as well. My phone is popping off. We're getting all sorts of information coming in. Yeah, so Man United are among the clubs interested in Nice midfielder Thuram. He would cost around 20 to 30 million with 1 year left on his contract. Not convinced about Thuram at Nice. We'll talk about him in a minute. Reminds me about that. But today is the day that is meant to be the day, is where we need to start off with this. Mason Greenwood's leaving Man United. There's some big updates coming out about him in the last hour or so. I did tweet he's gone and then realised that when you tweet he's gone, people might think you're talking about Ten Hag, which I may have known when I did it, but I was actually referring to Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood's going to be leaving Man United. I know some of you won't be very happy about that, but decisions have been made there and transfer talks actually are taking place. And I suspect that this deal will get done very, very quickly because he wants it done quickly. So I think it will get done very, very quickly. Also concerning stuff around Bruno Fernandez. But Martin says, on time, are you ill, Mark? I'm always on time on the morning show. I always try to be punctual on the morning show. It's as the day goes on, I become less lax. So, look, a lot of people, I'm with you on this. I read your comments. I still think people don't understand the concept of news. We've been doing it for 10 years at Christmas. We respond to the news, especially on a news show. The amount of people that in the comments go, oh, more clickbait bullshit made up. Yeah, you are thick. Like, we are responding to the news on a news show. So I understand your frustration. Even this morning, I've seen journalists saying today's expected to be the day. I've seen eyes. I've seen clocks. I've seen sand timers. Today is going to be the day. Today is going to be the day. Many journalists are saying it, right? Official. Straight up, 2 good sources this morning. There's nothing special about today that wasn't the same yesterday. I've been told that today could happen, but it could have happened last week. It could happen on Monday, and it could have happened yesterday. There's certainly nothing planned for like midday drop. It's not like they know their decision and they've gone Friday at midday or Friday at 4 o'clock. They haven't got, and I think that's what people think are going to happen. So you're expecting, you are setting yourself up for frustration here. There is no anticipation or expectation or planned event to sack or keep Ten Hag at a specific time today. Nothing is set up. No journal, and I was told that from a very good journalist this morning. So look, that doesn't mean it won't. I'm not sitting here saying it won't happen today, but those people who are saying today is surely going to be the day, today's they're going to do it, just get it in your head that Sir Jim Ratcliffe hasn't got a press release ready for midday. That's not what's happening here. What might happen is they get to a point today where they go, yeah, okay, we're happy to do this or do that, but that isn't expected. It could happen, but when it does happen, that's how it will happen. Whether it's tomorrow, today, Monday, Wednesday, it will just be, okay, we're all in agreement, let's go. And no, you can't put a time limit on that. So people who are expecting it to break today, I would say your sources aren't great and you're guessing. It's guesswork. And sometimes guessing can be correct, but it is pure guesswork at the end of the day. And also, what I would say is if you were sacking Ten Hag, I don't think Friday's a good day to do it. Or if you're keeping Ten Hag, I don't think Friday is a good day to do it. Because what happens if you do something on a Friday is that, you know, you make a statement or you do it and then there's follow-up questions. Oh, it's Friday, we're going home. It's Saturday, we're off. It's Sunday, we're off. I think if you're going to drop something like this, you do it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So there are days left in the week to respond. Because if they are sacking Ten Hag, then Ineos are going to want to respond. They're not going to want to drop it out there and leave it, you know, it's like starting a fire and leaving it, isn't it? But you're starting the fire in your own garden. You know, they've got to put that fire out quickly. So I think that if Ineos decide to sack Ten Hag, they're going to want to have a lineup of things afterwards to make it, you know, to try and deal with it. And I don't think you necessarily do that on a Friday. But, you know, so other people would say it's the perfect day to do it because you drop it out there and you let people moan over the weekend and then you hit next week hard. But look, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but this mythical Friday drop is not actually set in stone and never was. No, certainly nobody at Ineos or United have said you'll have an answer by Friday. So I think it's more about people assuming that this week was going to be the week, which is what many of us did assume. But you know what they say about assume? It can make an ass out of you and me. Figure it out. Poch coming in, taking time to sort Chelsea's severance, says Scott. Neves, Mason deal, I'll be there, says Sohil. And welcome to the members club as well. We've got a new member in Gunasika. Welcome to the club. So just wanted to get that out at the very start. There'll be a lot of people writing articles, doing videos, saying today's the day, decision day, la, la, la. But ultimately, I would hope those people have gone and done a bit of homework, because you can't just go into Friday going, it's the end of the week, surely today's it's going to happen because some journalist has put a picture of a couple of eyes out or said surely today's going to be the day. If they've actually done their work, then today is no different to the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it could drop today, but there's no expectation. I suppose I could have said that in a few seconds. There is no expectation that today will be the day, but we'll be ready if it does. What if Ineos never makes an announcement ever, says Richie? Well, you know, I mean, look, conspiracy theories, if you like them, we're waiting on Southgate, who has been given an extended deadline until after the Euros. We're trying to get some secret manager. We're working on a new contract with Ten Hag, and it's taken a bit longer than expected. I mean, they're all things. What I will say is, and I hate saying this, and my reaction to each manager that we get will be different, whether it's Ten Hag or whether we sack him, and I don't want to sack him. If they appoint Gareth Southgate, from day one, Southgate out. I just can't. That's one manager I cannot give a chance to. I think he's an absolute wally as a coach. And I've said it so many times at England, I can't be a hypocrite. I've absolutely demanded he get sacked by England for about 5 years. And I don't even care about England. So if he gets the Man United job, absolutely not going to give him a chance. No way. Don't care if I'm on my own. Don't care if I get called toxic, because I'd rather be toxic than a hypocrite. I think he's a crap coach. I don't want him anywhere near Man United. Absolutely not. But as I said to you before, people keep saying it's not true. We have spoken to his representatives, and Ashworth, Brailsford are massive, massive, massive admirers of his. So, look, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, Southgate. Surely we wouldn't go for him, but I will not go anywhere near him as a Man United manager. I don't want him at the club, and I'll say Southgate out from the start. Hi Mark, hope you're well. I feel like people are going to start turning on Ineos with how long they're taking and the constant uncertainty, says Ryan. Not if they keep Ten Hag. If they keep Ten Hag, I think they'll, a lot of people will back Ineos. Eric, Ten Hag isn't going anywhere. We need to move on, says Dan. We can't move on because we don't run the club, mate. The club have got to run that. Mark, after all, we are eligible to play in Europe. We are, says Alex. Right, I want to move on. We can come back if you want to, but I want to move on because ultimately there is no news around Ten Hag, and it's not expected to come out today, and I want you people to enjoy a weekend, and I want to move on to stuff that's actually happening at the club. There is a story coming about Thuram, who is a midfielder for Nice. Should we be going for him? But the biggest news today, Joe says that Southgate is the best option out there. Okay, just block Joe. There we go. Yeah, you're gone. There we go. Joe's gone. Mason Greenwood is gone from Manchester United. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And, tweeting he's gone this morning was probably not the best tweet, but Mason Greenwood is gone from Manchester United. There's talk of Benfica. There's talk that he's accepted Juventus. Obviously, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona have retained an interest. There are other clubs. There's 5 or 6 clubs that would move on Mason Greenwood. This is a very positive for Mason, and it's a very positive for Manchester United. But Mason Greenwood is gone, and he was always gone. And I think that look, I get it. People are different, and if you don't understand that, then you're going to struggle in life. People are different. You can't make people. Dictatorship is not the way to live your life. You can't make people think the way that you think, and life would be bloody boring if they did. Honestly, at my age, I figured this out a long time ago. It's bloody boring to go down the pub with 5 mates who all say the same thing. Oh, yeah. Let's sell McTominay and let's build a team around Bruno. It's boring. You want one of your mates to go, I'd start McTominay and give him the captaincy. It's enjoyable to have debates. And I think that people who want Mason Greenwood to stay, well, they just rate him as a player. And they want to see him in a Man United shirt. But where I think they've gone wrong is that it's not just about football. It's about mentality. It's about mental health. It's about politics. It's about scenarios. And in a very, very short 30 seconds, the reason Mason Greenwood has to leave Manchester United is, one, because there will be a shitstorm if he comes back. There are people within Man United who don't want him back, certainly in the media. And as we know, everybody loves a drama to pile onto, whether they care about it or not. So if Mason Greenwood comes back, it's a shitstorm. Secondly, I don't think Mason Greenwood wanted to come back. I don't think he's particularly happy with the way it went down with Man United anyway. But more importantly, I think he's also aware that coming back to England now will be an absolute onslaught mentally for him that he can easily avoid. So I think for Mason Greenwood, it's not the right time to come back either. And Man United have got to make a decision this summer, and there are clubs out there that want him. So he was always going to go. And where he's going to go is going to be the next interesting thing. Now, the positives are that he will stay away from England, which I think is the right thing for him to keep developing. And I'm sure he'll come back at one day. And maybe we'll have a buyback clause. I'd certainly be surprised if we didn't. Whether we could buy him back or not, time's a great healer. We'll have to wait and see. But he's a youth player. He's not played for us for 2 years, so you can't miss what you haven't had for 2 years. It's a long, long time. I mean, if I said to you that Mason Greenwood last played for Manchester United, was it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or did he play under Rangnick a little bit? I'm trying to figure it out. I think it was Rangnick, wasn't it? I mean, it's a long, long time ago. But it's pure profit for Manchester United. If it's 30 million, it's 30 million. If it's 40 million, it's 40 million. So I think the question is, where is he going to go and how quick's the deal going to get done? We'd always known that Man United and Greenwood wanted this done quickly. And I praise that. You know, Greenwood's not part of the Euros, and the last thing anybody wants, and it's not Man United, it's a joint conversation. Neither of them want to be rolling into Carrington on July the 1st. Neither of them want that. They want this sorted. So I would suspect that over the next few days, certainly by the end of July, we'll have a real clarity on where Greenwood's going to go. Whether they'll announce it before July the 1st, I don't know. I don't know how you keep these sort of things quiet anyway. Where do I think he's going to go? I think Juventus is I think that's where I would go. I'd go Juventus. I mean, I love Juventus. I love Serie A, so I think he'll go to Juventus. But I wouldn't rule out La Liga. I'd quite like the idea of Benfica if we could do some sort of João Neves deal, but I don't think he'll go to Benfica, because I think when you've got the offer of Italian league or Spanish league, why would you go to the Portuguese league? So I don't see him going to Benfica. So price-wise, says Anton, yeah, if you're just tuning in, so Mason Greenwood will be leaving Manchester United. I know there was some of you that were clinging on to the hope that we might keep him, but look, remember, Ten Hag was reportedly wanting to keep him. So Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out, it's got nothing to do with Greenwood, because it was never about the manager. The manager never had a say in this. This was about politics. This was about, you know, the bigger public court of opinion, actually. The rumour was that Ten Hag wanted Greenwood and that Man United were going to keep him. So that was a long time ago. He will leave. He is going to go. And it will be a case of where he goes. I think we'll get somewhere between 30 and 40 million pounds with add-ons. That's the logical, intelligent thing to do. You can't just sell him for 40 million. There's got to be performance-based incentives in there. And there's got to be a buyback clause as well, or at least a first refusal. Because when you look at what we did with Anthony Martial and Monaco, Jadon Sancho and Dortmund, we are a football club that are crap at transfers. So we need to be better. And I think Ineos will be better at this sort of stuff. So if I'm selling Mason Greenwood, whether it's 30 million, 35 million or 40 million up front, I'm building in another 20 to 30 in incentives and add-ons, because he is still, look, I can't say that at 20 years of age, he's a generational talent, and then at 22 or whatever he is now, he's shit. Like, he still could end up being a really good player. And as much as people will never forgive Mason Greenwood, and that's up to them, if he has a clean 3 or 4 years since what he was accused of, which he never got found guilty of, by the way, but the court of public opinion is the court of public opinion. If by the time he's 26, 27, he's like consistent, settled mentality, then at some point he could make a move to a big club for 70, 80 million pounds. United need to be getting some of that. We need to be getting some of that. So I just don't think Mason Greenwood's the sort of player that you wash your hands of completely, Manchester United. You cash in now and you make sure that you're cashing in the future if he continues to grow. But he's definitely gone. Who do you want at centre-back with the Chelsea news this morning, says Zachary? Well, I'll have a look at that. Chelsea, Kavok says toss in, Chelsea confirmed. Well, we were never going to get toss in. He was always going to go to Chelsea. Armin says Chelsea is officially confirmed and Ineos is still deciding on the FA Cup winning manager. Mason's situation is akin to what would happen if a player is racially abusive. Luis Suarez's situation would be vastly different if it happens now, says Sam. Well, look, I played at Crystal Palace last Sunday. If Cantona did what he did then now, would he ever play football again? Would he be in prison? It's, times are changing, aren't they? Mark, there is a reason no manager has ever won the Premier League after managing another Premier League club. Only Dalglish has done it, and that was when it was the first division, says Joe. Southgate in as our only hope, says Leo. Another one bites the dust. Block. Mark, there is a reason. No, I've done that one from Joe. Eric Ten Hag's deserves a third season. It's not rocket science, says Hassan. And offer 60 million to Benfica plus Mason Greenwood for João Neves, says Jack. Yeah, but the player's got to want to go to Benfica, and I don't think he would. Love your work, Mark. I've given up waiting for a decision to be made and taken up watching Glazers instead. More likely to see movement by July. Glaciers, not Glazers. Sorry, Brian. Mark, please wish my daughter, Amaya Amen, a very happy 16th birthday. Regards to Kurt. Happy birthday to Amaya. And Sven, welcome to the Members Club. And Joe Wright says, I'm here like the Undertaker in the background. And Sarah says that needs to give clarity on the situation, otherwise no summer plans will come to fruition. Thank you very much for all your updates there. I think we will sign one right-sided centre-back and one left-back and use Shaw as a second left-back next season, says Armin. Yeah, if he stays fit. And if Ten Hag does go, then why don't we get Ollie back, says James. God, there's some crazy people out there today. There really is, bloody hell. Yeah, that is scary. Look, I mean, this story's just come out this morning that we're looking at Thuram from Nice, who's a midfielder, for about £20 million. We've also been linked to Chalobah for £20 million from Chelsea. We're going to talk about Bruno in a moment, but what I will say is, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but when I see Man United being linked to Thuram of Nice or Chalobah of Chelsea, they could be really good signings, but is it more about efficiency in saving money than actually getting best in class? I don't want to disrespect Thuram and Chalobah because they could both be good players. And to be honest, I think they are good players. But my question mark is Thuram or Edison, Chalobah or Todibo? Thuram or Homeland, Chalobah or Branthwaite? And also, are Man City signing Chalobah and Thuram? Are Liverpool signing Chalobah and Thuram? Are Arsenal signing Chalobah and Thuram? And that's my point. You will never close the gap. You will never close the gap if you don't buy best in class. But if you can't buy best in class, then something is better than nothing. And what I mean like that is, if your team is a level 4 and Man City's a level 10, then obviously you want to buy players to make you a level 10. But if you can't afford to do that, would you refuse players that might take you from a 4 to a 6? And this is the longevity of the journey that nobody wants to discuss. Of course, I would rather we were buying the João Neves, the Todibo, the Frimpong, the Elise. And it's very disappointing if you don't. But you can't throw your nose out of joint because you sign Chalobah and Thuram if they are going to improve us slightly. They're not going to improve us to the level we want to, but if this is a 3 to 5 year journey, then maybe it will just be small strides. Because Chalobah intrigues me. It's either a really bad deal or it's a really intelligent deal. But in relation to Thuram at Nice, if you don't know anything about him, and I've not seen loads of him, but I do know who he is simply because from That's Football, Liverpool were going to buy him last summer. So I'd done a bit of research on him, and then Liverpool didn't buy him, and then we've been linked to him a few times last season. So I've seen a little bit of him. I don't know about, I don't know. To be honest, he doesn't jump out at me as being the right sort of player. And correct me if I'm wrong, expectation-wise, he's not a 6. He's definitely more attacking. He's definitely more of an 8. Well, last time I checked, we don't need another 8. You know, McTominay can play there apparently. Mount can play there apparently. It's Mainoo's best position. Bruno can play there. We need a 6. We need a holding midfielder. That's not Thuram from Nice. So what we're going to do, buy a midfielder again who's not a 6? I mean, I don't... It's almost like we're allergic to buying holding midfielders. I mean, and this goes back to Roy Keane in 2006 and Michael Carrick when he left. We've never really had any. And we're really bad at replacing them. We have to buy a 6. And Thuram's not a 6. So for me, Ferocious says he's a box-to-box beast. Well, some people think Edison is, but I think Edison's far more defensive. I mean, Liverpool are after Edison now. I've been on about Edison for ages. Edison would be a good signing. Newcastle were looking at him as well. Liverpool are looking at Edison. I think, again, you know, it pisses me off. Remember, how many years ago was it when I really wanted Fabinho? Fabinho was playing as a sort of right back for Monaco, and we were being linked to him. And I remember saying, whilst he's playing at right back for Monaco, he can also play centre back and CDM. I really wanted Fabinho and went to Liverpool and was a very good signing. And I think if they go and get Edison as well, I think he'd be a good signing for them. But Thuram, to me, just doesn't seem like he's the right player. It seems to me like it's a Nice connection at a cheap price, but 20 million down the drain if you're spending it on a position that we don't actually need. So, look, I'm not saying Thuram's a bad signing. I'm just saying, is he the right signing for Manchester United at the right time? Alexander says, early days with Ineos, but everything seems to be done on the cheap, just like before. It's no wonder the Glazers did a deal with them. For a 6, what about the Riedwald from Crystal Palace, says Stephen. I've probably murdered that name. That's Fofana from Monaco, but there's better options. No, we're talking about Thuram. Sohail from Nice. Early days, we've done that. Instead of sacking Ten Hag, use that 9 million to keep Amrabat, says Zen. Can you wish my brother Mike a happy 21st, says Kenzo. Mark, yay, says Giannas. Thank you very much. Chris Devine, thank you. Appreciate that. And YEL says, where Ineos have won, that they are dragging out the manager situation. So even if they keep him, we have less time for the fans to focus on transfers, is YEL. You might be onto something there. You might be. Let me just check, because there's a lot of stuff coming out. At Ten Hag era says, Goldbridge, my lawyers will be writing to you. I'm now being transferred to hospital for a cardiac arrest. Yeah, I did tweet out he's gone 20 minutes before the 10 o'clock show. I realise, well, I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I probably half knew what it would do, but ultimately Mason Greenwood is gone. Graham Potter's not going to go to Brighton. There is a story about Bruno Fernandez that I want to bring in as well. Look, for me, I also want to bring this in because we are massively about the community and we are massively about football. And you might be bored by this, but these are things that I'm passionate about. If you listen to the podcast, Goldbridge Saves Football, it's more general football chat. But this is about Man United. Yesterday, there was a vote on VAR for the Premier League. Wolverhampton Wanderers put this motion forward saying that VAR should be switched off because it's not fit for purpose. It's currently ruining the game. There's been too many points that have been lost by teams. Fans can't celebrate goals properly. Wolves put forward a really compelling and interesting case to switch VAR off until it's fixed. 20 clubs voted. 19 voted to keep it, and Wolves were the only club that voted against it. The Red Army put a statement out and said, Man United voted for VAR to stay, demonstrating complete disregard for the wishes of the majority of fans surveyed. During this entire process, no attempt was made at fan engagement. That's contemptuous considering how strong feeling is on the subject. Well, look, I think it's great the Red Army did that. I think that this community certainly felt the same. And I think it's a big story that won't get any mention because people are too focused on transfers and what may or may not happen with a manager. I think it's bloody disgusting that Premier League clubs unanimously voted to keep VAR, and yet we've had Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United moaning about VAR all season, and they've done nothing about the biggest victims to VAR, which is you and me, the fan, who watches the, they're earning millions out of this. Millions of pounds out of the Premier League. Millions out of the PGMOL. They're all in it together. Not one little bit to look at the real victims about VAR, which is the fans. The fans in the ground who sit there for 2 minutes without a fucking clue what's going on. The fans at home who watch it and go, how the fuck have they come to that decision? No. Nothing. Just vote to keep it and let the PGMOL win and let the Premier League win. Who are these football clubs representing? That's the bottom line here. Who are they actually representing? Because VAR is not your choice to make. VAR is, we pay massive subscriptions in the UK, and you play it worldwide, but you get more for less, to be honest. You get every game. We're paying massive prices for a football shirt. I mean, 100 quid for a fucking shirt. What the fuck's going on there? And yet, you do not listen to any of us about what is happening to the beautiful game. You just go, they won't do anything. And that's the contempt that football clubs have towards the people that actually put them where they are. We pay their wages. I hate that statement, but we pay their wages. And this is how little they think of the football fan today, that they know we're not happy with VAR and they vote to keep it because they're more interested in what they think in their collective. And they don't even bother to put a statement out to say, we've listened to Man United fans, but this is why we think we should keep it. They just don't give a shit. We are moving more and more and more towards this franchised collective group that treat fans like shit on their shoe and take their money and kick them up the arse. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And I'm appalled. I'm absolutely appalled that our football club, who were lobbied, ignored it. Now, to you, that might not mean much on a Friday morning because you're thinking about Ten Hag or you're thinking about Greenwood, but it is absolutely disgusting. And what I will also say is, my loyalty is to football fans. Next season, when VAR fucks up everybody, I'm only going to back Wolves. Man United can go fuck themselves in relation to VAR next season. So can Liverpool, so can Arsenal. Simply because you had a chance to do something about it and you chose not to. We will still be the victim. We can still moan about VAR and we can still say it's a disgrace and this, that and the other. But if we lose a game next season because of VAR, we've got no right to complain because we voted to keep it. It's as simple as that. And I'll end it there. No football club that voted to keep VAR has got any sympathy next season with any football fan. And if Arne Slot comes out moaning about a Liverpool offside, or Mikel Arteta comes out moaning about a foul that should have been given to stop a goal, we should all just go, up yours. Go forth and prosper, because you had your chance and you did nothing about it. So you want to keep ruining the game of football to, fill your coffers up, crack on. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because I think it's very important. Fan opinion, of course, is the life soul of what we do. I want to talk to you about Bruno Fernandez. There is a interesting update coming in around him. More and more room. Look, I struggle a little bit with the Bruno stuff because I'm very, very concerned about it, and I don't think that we should be moving him on. But story coming out today from, I think, The Guardian, saying that Manchester United will listen to serious offers for Bruno Fernandez beginning at £70 million. But Ineos do rate him as a very, very important player. I mean, this just bothers me because there's no smoke without fire. And why is Bruno Fernandez speaking to other clubs? Why are Man United saying we don't want to sell him, but there is a price? There are no stories about Marcus Rashford. And I know it's always unfair to let's bring Sancho in. There are no stories about Sancho and Rashford, but there are stories about Greenwood and Bruno. Why? Because people actually wouldn't mind buying Greenwood and Bruno, but nobody wants to buy Rashford and Sancho. And we've got Ineos above all of this. And what Ineos are doing is, if somebody offers £80 million for Rashford, I think they'd sell him. If somebody offers £40 million for Sancho, I think they'd sell him. Greenwood, they'll sell because someone wants him. If someone offers £70 million for Bruno, they might sell him. What they're basically trying to do here is they're trying to generate interest in any player because they need to raise cash. They probably don't want to sell Bruno Fernandez, but if somebody offers £70 million, they will. They can't sell Rashford, so we want to keep him. It's about what came out a month ago. Apart from Mainu, Garnacho, Rasmus, Delo, I think everybody has got a price because they need to raise money because we haven't got much. And the Bruno thing, I just think what's happening is they've basically said everybody's up for sale, but the only clubs that are interested, the only players that have got any interest are the likes of Greenwood and Bruno Fernandez. And that's why I think Bruno keeps being mentioned, because he's one of the only players that when other clubs know everybody's up for sale have gone, well, we are quite interested in him. The reason being he's our best bloody player. People aren't interested in Rashford. They're not interested in Sancho. I mean, Dortmund, of all the prattish things to do, Dortmund take Sancho on loan. Then they put tweets out saying, oh, he's back home now where we'll look after him. Season ends, we don't want to buy him. We'll keep him on loan, but we don't want to buy him. And I'm laughing my head off. I'm going, oh, but you were tweeting, taking a piss, saying, oh, he's back home now where we'll look after him. Oh, yeah, you'll look after him so much that now we say, do you want to buy him? You go, no, fuck no. It's, this is just a prime example of we're getting interest in players that clubs actually would want to buy. But the downside of that is it's a bit like a fire sale. If you need to raise money tomorrow and you do a car boot sale and you take all your good stuff down and you take all your shit stuff down and nobody's offering to buy your shit stuff, but you raise money off your good stuff, you raise money, but you go home with money and shit. When what you want to do is go home with money and no shit. But we're so desperate to raise money, we're going to have to sell good stuff, I think. Because that's the only thing we're going to get the interest in. So, long road ahead. I mean, look, if you sell Bruno Fernandez but you keep the shit, are we better or worse? You know, it's like that game, isn't it? Sell Rashford. What would life be without Rashford? Better. What would life be without Rashford at Man United? Worse. What would life be without Bruno? Better. What would life be without Bruno at United? Worse. Like what is it? Are we a better club without Bruno? I think no. Are we a better club without Sancho? I think yes. Are we a better club without Rashford? Debatable. Are we a better club without Harry Maguire? I think we're better because he's 31, he's slow, he's starting to pick up injuries, he's not part of the future. So, but you can only sell what you can sell, and when you're desperate, you're desperate. And I just think the Bruno stuff worries me because it could be 70 million quid that they want to spend elsewhere. And they also think maybe quite rightly that Mason Mount might be the thing. I mean, look, another conspiracy theory here. Another conspiracy theory here. If you get rid of Ten Hag and you get rid of Bruno and you bring a manager in that likes Mason Mount, you just made yourself 70 million quid. Ten Hag likes Bruno. Bruno likes Ten Hag. Ten Hag goes, Bruno goes, 70 million quid, Mason Mount's your number 10. But can you count on Mount, who's been injured for a whole year? And it is conspiracy, Depp. Look, it is conspiracy because conspiracy is the world we live in at the moment because there's no certainty. So conspiracy will thrive. Are we waiting on Southgate? Are we looking to get rid of Ten Hag and Bruno so we can use Mount and use the Bruno money on other areas? You know, there is... This is going to happen, of course. But I don't think you can get rid of Bruno and use Mason Mount because I don't think we know whether Mason Mount is reliable enough in that position at the moment. Honestly, I don't. So, yeah, I just worry. I do worry about Bruno Fernandez because I genuinely think there's something going on there, and that's not rocket science. But I genuinely think there's something going on there, and I do explain it with the whole, well, there's no smoke without fire, obviously, but if you want to raise money and no one wants to buy your shit, then you probably have to start selling good stuff. I mean, look, in an ideal world, of course, I think most people are going to raise £150 million selling Lindelof, selling Wan-Bissaka, selling Sancho, selling Greenwood, selling McTominay, selling Maguire. But if you can't sell those players, then you probably sell somebody else. I mean, I've seen a few people saying, why can't we sell Rashford? Well, whether you want to sell Rashford or not, it's irrelevant. We don't need to talk about that. But nobody wants to buy Rashford. You know, people can argue about that, but nobody wants to buy Marcus Rashford. Probably for a very good reason. He's on a lot of money and he's had a bad season. And United would want a lot of money, but nobody wants to buy Rashford. His stock is very, very, very low. He's not even in the Euros team. He's on 350 grand a week. Man United would want 70, 80 million quid. Nobody wants him. The only club that might want him is PSG, but we're told they don't want him. They want Leao from Milan or Osimhen from Napoli. They're not looking at Marcus Rashford. So he won't go anywhere because you can't sell him. And that might be the same with Christian Eriksen, who has got 1 year left on his contract on 140 grand a week. Who's going to pay that? At least he's in the Euros. He scored a bloody good goal yesterday as well. So, that might help us get rid of Eriksen if we want to do it. Jadon Sancho, who's going to want Jadon Sancho? 300 grand a week. Hasn't really set the world on fire at Dortmund. He's done okay. He's a loan deal, isn't he? Who's going to want to buy Harry Maguire? 190 grand a week, 31 years of age, currently injured, not going to be playing in the Euros. Not going to be putting himself out there, is he? So I think there's a lot of players that you would probably sell that are unsellable. And, people say, let's sell Luke Shaw, and it makes me laugh. Who to? It's not, people say sell Anthony. Who to? Don't worry, I'm not talking about Bono. I'm saying who to, not you to. But who are you going to sell Anthony to? 200 grand a week. Not in the Brazil squad. Had a bad season. Who are you going to sell him to? Luke Shaw, 150 grand a week. Injured. Injury prone. Who are you going to sell him to that's going to pay that wage and give you a transfer fee? Nobody. Nobody's going to do it. So it's one of those. Benny McCarthy leaving. Are we clearing out for a new man? Says Chris Devine. I don't look again. Conspiracy theory time. Benny McCarthy leaving could be an indication that Erik Ten Hag is leaving. But on the other hand, I don't think Erik Ten Hag. I don't think Erik Ten Hag is the sort of guy that's appointed Benny McCarthy anyway. So I don't necessarily think that it could mean something. It could mean nothing. Is the honest answer. Benny McCarthy didn't come with Erik Ten Hag from Ajax. So I don't think that necessarily does mean anything, if I'm being honest. On that one. VAR should stay, says Abhishek. The technology is never the problem, and even if it is, it should only be improved and not destroyed. Remember, we ourselves have been benefited from it many times, says Abhishek. On VAR, they should switch it off. They should switch it off and work on it. Because the biggest problem with VAR is, you're right, the technology is fine, but the idiots behind it are idiots. So you switch it off and you educate and learn. You don't run a fucking test research process over 3 or 4 years in the Premier League. It's not fit for purpose, mate. It needs switching off. They don't know what they're doing with it. You can't learn on the job in the best league in the world. They should switch it off. We'd be better off without it. They should switch it off, put it in a lower league, and iron out all the problems, because it's not fit for purpose. So that's why it should be switched off. No one's saying switch it off and throw it in the bin forever. Technology is going to be important. But what's a red card? What's a handball? What's an offside? It needs switching off. We're looking at Waistcoat United, the Ineos plan, says Terence. And Kyle says, I believe that Anthony will be amazing next season. Not if Eric Ten Hag isn't there. I don't think so. I think Anthony will find himself out of the football club under a different manager. It's not only about who will buy these players, but do they want to leave? Most will want to stay because of the massive wages they're on. If they really wanted to play football, they'd take a pay cut, says Patrick. Well, that's Man United's fault, Patrick. I mean, I said this about Harry Maguire last year. He would have gone to West Ham. West Ham could only give him 100 grand a week. He's on 190 grand a week at Manchester United. So basically, the story was Man United need to cover the other 100 grand for a year. And United were like, no, we're not going to do that. So quite rightly, Harry Maguire would say, well, hold on a minute. You gave him the contract. I've got 2 years of it left, 3 years of it left potentially. So give me the money. You know, we give these stupid contracts out and they basically kill us. Maguire's still got 2 years left on his deal. You know, we gave him a 6-year contract. I mean, look, I think Maguire's played well this season, and I'm gutted for him that he's not in the England team. But it's not his fault. This isn't. But just imagine this, right? You already know who I'm talking about, and if you can come up with a better one, let me know. Plays for Leicester, 50 grand a week. Plays for Leicester in England, 50 grand a week. Man United sign him up from 50 grand a week to 190 grand a week for £80 million on a 6+1 contract. So we go from 50 to 190 grand a week. We pay £80 million to Leicester, and we put him on a 6-year contract plus one. I don't know if there's a worse contract in football. Chelsea have probably done one. I mean, Chelsea do ridiculous ones, don't they, with their long contracts. I mean, Mudrik's one's probably worth having a look at, to be honest. But for Manchester United, that is just... Who signs that off? A 6+1. 6-year contract plus one. So 7 years it could be. 190k, £80 million. Mad. Absolutely mad. Joe wasn't blocked, by the way. It was a joke. It's only about... Okay, we're looking at Waistcoat. Okay, we've done that. Morning. When do you think Ten Hag job will be confirmed, says Tom. Yeah, if you've tuned in a bit late... I'm as bored as you, which is why I've enjoyed talking about Thuram and Greenwood. And I'm on the 8 o'clock show tonight, which is at 7 o'clock because I'm doing the England game. I'm going to update the hotometer because it needs updating from March. As you can see, the hotometer is... What the fuck? The hotometer is completely out of date from March. So I'm going to update that for the 7 o'clock show tonight, which I'm excited about. So we'll have an updated list because somebody quite rightly in the chat said, what's happening with Elise? I get the feeling that with Elise, we are on the cusp of Chelsea agreed deal for Elise. I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. But I just get the feeling that Chelsea will beat us to that 100%, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if you tuned in a bit late about what's going on, the end, question mark, Ten Hag decision made, question mark. I think that, unfortunately, we are obviously going to be very frustrated with the lack of decision from Manchester United, and I do get that. But you've also got to be very, very careful about being manipulated by people who don't know what's going on. I know that sounds a little bit rich from us, but we've always, what people need to forget is we've always done a show at 10 o'clock every morning from Christmas to New Year. That doesn't work, you know, from New Year to Christmas. So when people say, oh, what are you doing a video when nothing's going on? But we've done it for 10 years. We're not going to go, let's not do a 10 o'clock show, because we've always done a 10 o'clock show. And that's why it's a news show, because we talk about the news. But there are people out there that are doing tweets and Insta posts and videos and articles about today's the day, Friday. We'll know on Friday. And I'd love to find out today. It might ruin the weekend. It might make the weekend. I'd love to know today. And I suspect Ineos would like to let you know today, but for some reason they can't. And they couldn't tell you yesterday. And they couldn't tell you on Monday. And they couldn't tell you after the FA Cup final. And they might not tell you today. And they might not tell you on Monday. There is no reason today is the day. But a lot of people have got it in their head that we were going to find out this week. And at the start of the week, I would have guessed we would know this week. But now it's Friday. I'm like, what's special about today? And as I said, spoke to a couple of people this morning who've said there's nothing special about today. Like, it can happen very quickly. Like, because it will happen very quickly. It will be like decision made, get it out there before it leaks. It will go out really quick. So they might make a decision at midday and it's out by 12:30. But the more important thing is there was nothing about today that was significant. And for the last 48 hours, a lot of people have been going eyes, ears, knees and toes. You know, by Friday we'll know. We'll definitely know by the end of the week. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's just guesswork. They don't know. They're just trying to guess that by the end of the week we'll know something. Right now, nothing is planned for today. Nothing is planned. Nothing is special. Nothing was promised. Ineos haven't said, we've got it in a golden envelope that's sealed. You know, like the Oscars. Everyone's excited. Look, this would be I tell you what, that would be a stream and a half, wouldn't it? I tell you what, you talk about live viewers. There's something for Man United's YouTube channel. Live stream at Old Trafford. Big stand. Ten Hag stood there. Mystery manager stood there with a mask on. Sir Jim Radcliffe at the board, at the plectrum or whatever they call it. Lantern, is it? What's it? I can't remember what it's called. Golden envelope. Imagine how many hundreds of thousands of people, millions would watch a live stream at Old Trafford with Erik ten Hag there, a masked manager there, and a golden envelope. I'd do it. Get Sir Jim out. Get Goldbridge to do it. He's good on YouTube. I'd really build it up. I'd be like, this is the guy. He's won 2 trophies. He's had a major injury record. Blah, 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 blah. Surely we can't let him go. But then we've got this guy who we want to know who it is. Could be Ancelotti, although looking at him, I don't think it is. It's definitely not Tuchel. He's not thin enough. Could be Southgate. Do you stick or twist? Well, we don't know because it's going to be in the envelope. And then you open it up and you go, I read it before you look at it. I'll go, Eric, it could be you. Gareth, oh shit, I've let it out. It can't be you. You fuck off. We're keeping Ten Hag. Imagine that though. I mean, you could never do it. It's cruel, but it is like we're not doing that. Like, there is no sealed golden envelope about who it's going to be. I genuinely don't think they know who it's going to be at the moment. I genuinely don't think they've made their mind up. I think when they make their mind up, it will go out very, very quickly. Southgate would have a paper bag over his head like he did for the pizza adverts, a solid plate, yeah. Yeah, so in conclusion to that segment, there is nothing special about today, but a lot of people have hyped it up that today will be the day. Today's going to be the day, but they don't know. And when you figure it out, all these people that have been saying for the last 48 hours that today will be the day, if today was the day and they were right, that would mean Ineos know the decision. And that would mean they've known it for 2 days or 24 hours or whatever. And that's not the case. Frustratingly, I also have to put a disclaimer in there and say, It doesn't mean it won't happen today, because when they do make their mind up, it will come out very, very quickly. But just hold this thought. There's never been a promise it would be today, and there is no midday, let's announce it today. It could be today, but it could be next Friday. It could be next month. It could be Monday. We don't know when it's going to be, but don't get locked in. I think the most important thing is don't get locked into by 5 o'clock you're going to know, because you might not. Lots of people are saying we need the golden envelope thing. My phone's buzzing off now. Oh, what's that? Sir Jim. Sounds like a great idea. Can you make it up to Carrington for midday? Mark, off topic, but what if Chelsea signed Tosin only to sell him for FFP? Is that a loophole we could exploit, says Richard? You can't do it. I don't think you can do it that quickly. Man United sales could raise 250 million plus, says Ben. Who are you selling? Remember Coventry had beat us with VAR, says Sano. Look, but I always said that Coventry thing was horrible when they scored that goal. And I remember that clip at the Coventry end at Wembley, and there was a guy filming all the Coventry fans, and in the background you heard somebody go, "It's the best day of my life," for about 30 seconds. When do you think Ten Hag's job will be confirmed, says Tom? Do you want an educated guess? I think early next week. And I'm still 75% sure that they're going to keep him. Yeah, but I don't think we'll get anything today. I don't think we'll get anything over the weekend. There was another question in the chat. How do you think it will get announced? I think it's got... Look, Look, this is a great question. How do you think it will get announced? I don't think it will be a Man United press statement that breaks it, because it very rarely is. I think it logically comes out from an Ornstein or a Romano. I think that's where it comes out. KD says Sunday at 10 o'clock. Could be. Hit the new week with, could be. I think it will come out from like a Romano or an Ornstein, but sometimes with these things, they can come out from weird places as well. Ineos are a business, could come out from Sky News, business news. Look, it could come out from anywhere. It could be the, I don't know. But on the other hand, is it not also prudent to say it might not come out until after the Euros? What if it doesn't come out until after the Euros? Which sounds like impossible. Absolutely sounds impossible. But if they want Southgate, I genuinely don't think it will take that long. But the longer it goes on, the more I would be leaning towards it could be. It could be the Euros. It could be... Sorry. The longer it goes on, the more I fear it could be Southgate. But I don't think it is going to be Southgate, by the way. It's just my worst nightmare. But I don't think it will be him. But, it could be. It could be. Let me just catch up in here. When is Ten Hag due back at Carrington, says Lee. I mean, he could be still on holiday. You'd imagine he'd have 2 weeks, and he only went on holiday on Monday. Be 2 weeks on Sunday, wouldn't it? Who gets the captaincy if we sell Bruno, says Ricardo. Yeah, we're very short on captains. Very, very short. Mike says somebody paid 4 million to Brighton for De Zerbi, not Chelsea, not Liverpool, not West Ham. Who else from the Premier League? De Zerbi resigned before the FA Cup final. Connect the dots. If Ineos want to back Ten Hag, they would have done it, says Mike. Yeah, but that De Zerbi story, it's only ever come from one person, hasn't it? It only ever came from Di Marzio. Why would Fabrizio Romano not know about that? That's what I've always thought about that. It never got widely reported by Ornstein. So I don't know. look, I'm not saying you're wrong. They could be waiting on Southgate. They could be working on a new contract with Ten Hag. I mean, honestly, I don't want to be putting anything out there to you that I know anything, because I don't. But as I said, 2 people this morning have said to me, there's nothing special about today. Like, it's not like there's a deadline today. I think some people think Ineos have set a deadline of today to do it. They haven't. It can easily roll into next week. But speaking to numerous people, honestly, some people will tell you there's a growing confidence that Ten Hag's going to stay. And then other people will say, there's no smoke without fire. I think he's going to go. So there's no definitive answer I can go, I would lean towards this or I would lean towards that. If you want him gone, you've got a chance. If you want him to stay, there is a chance. What about sacking him in July so it hits the new financial year, says Cal? I mean, that would be horrible to do that, wouldn't it? Ben Jones says, easy, simple maths, 200 to 250. But give us the players, mate. Give us the players. Anyway, I'm on the 2 o'clock show today. Also, tomorrow, don't forget, links in the video description. Tomorrow, Ilkeston Town FC. I want to see some ultras there. There is a live stream of it. I will have that detail for you tomorrow. But Goldbridge is playing tomorrow in a team. I'm not managing. I'm playing. I'm playing the game tomorrow for as long as my legs will last. We're going to win. I'm with Angry Ginge. We're going to win the trophy. It will be live streamed tomorrow, so you can check it out. But if you want to be there, there are still some tickets left. I think there's about a couple of 100 tickets left. £6 for a ticket. All goes to charity. £6? I think they've gone very cheap. I said I'm playing. You could easily do 100 quid. £6, starts at midday, 4 games, finishes at about 5 o'clock. Roll up at 3, roll up at 12. I want to see banners. I want to see ultras. You know, get yourself down there tomorrow. Be great to see you. Links in the live chat. I'll be back with you at 2. Take care. Speak to you in a bit.